There's a silent crisis unfolding right under our feet, and it's happening at a speed that has scientists using words like unprecedented. For over 2 decades, NASA satellites have been keeping a close eye on the planet's most vital resource, fresh water. The data they've sent back tells a shocking and urgent story. Our world is drying out. And the reason why is more complex and alarming than you might think. What if I told you the biggest thing making sea levels rise isn't just melting ice, but the very ground we're standing on drying up? For more than 20 years, a pair of satellite missions called GRACE and GRACE-FO have been doing something incredible. They measure tiny changes in Earth's gravity. By tracking gravity, they can track where mass is moving around the planet. And the biggest thing that moves month to month is water. What these satellites have revealed is that the total amount of fresh water stored on our continents, in lakes, rivers, soil, snow, and deep underground, is in a free fall. Since 2002, the amount of land suffering from severe water loss has been expanding by an area twice the size of California. Every single year, dry regions are getting drier, and they're doing it much faster than wet regions are getting wetter. This isn't some far-off problem for our grandkids. The data shows this whole process kicked into high gear around 2014, coinciding with a monster El Niño event. But even after the weather patterns settled down, the water levels never bounced back. We've entered a new, dangerously dry reality. This isn't a drought. It's a complete reshaping of our planet's water cycle, and it now affects a staggering 75% of the human population, nearly 6 billion people, who live in countries that have been losing fresh water since the turn of the century. So where is all this water going? The answer is a 1-2 punch of our own making. We're pumping way too much out of the ground, and our climate is getting dangerously hot. First, let's talk about the water we can't even see. Deep underground, there are vast, hidden oceans of fresh water stored in layers of rock and soil called aquifers. A lot of this is fossil water that has been there for thousands of years. Think of it like a planetary savings account, a trust fund of water for a rainless day. Well, we're not just dipping into that account, we're draining it bankrupt. Recent analysis of that NASA data dropped a bombshell. A staggering 68% of all freshwater loss from the continents comes from us depleting groundwater. We are pumping it dry far faster than nature can ever hope to refill it. The main reason? Agriculture. About 70% of all fresh water we take is used for irrigation to feed our growing population. In places like California's Central Valley, the North China Plain, and Northwest India, this groundwater mining is so extreme that the land itself is actually sinking. Then, this relentless pumping is supercharged by the second driver, climate change. Global warming is throwing the planet's water cycle into chaos. It's making droughts more frequent and much more severe. Warmer temperatures mean more water evaporates, and changing weather patterns mean that rain doesn't fall where or when it used to. These two forces have teamed up to create what scientists are now calling mega-drying regions. 4 massive zones of accelerating water loss have emerged, all in the Northern Hemisphere. One stretches from the American West down through Central America. Another covers Alaska and northern Canada, where glaciers are rapidly vanishing. A third spans across northern Russia, and the fourth, the most sprawling of all, covers a huge area from the Middle East through Europe into Central Asia and northern China. These aren't just a few hotspots anymore. They are continental-scale wounds, bleeding fresh water at a terrifying rate. A planet losing its fresh water is a planet heading for a system-wide failure. The consequences go way beyond just being a little thirsty. They threaten the very foundations of our civilization. The most immediate hit is to our food security. Agriculture is the biggest user of groundwater and the first victim when it's gone. As aquifers dry up and droughts drag on, farmers face a future of smaller harvests and outright crop failures. That's a direct threat to the global food supply. Then there's water security. When wells run dry and rivers shrink, communities are left without safe drinking water, which can lead to a rise in disease from using contaminated sources. This is the kind of thing that destabilizes societies, raises the risk of conflict over what little water is left, and forces people to leave their parched homelands behind. And remember that question from the beginning? How can dry land make the oceans rise? It's simple, but it's terrifying. Every drop of that ancient groundwater we pump to the surface eventually flows into rivers and out into the ocean. It's water that was locked away on land for thousands of years. The latest research now shows that the total water pouring off the continents from this drying, led by groundwater depletion, is now contributing to more sea level rise than the melting of the massive ice sheets in Greenland and Antarctica. We are literally pumping the land dry and pouring it into the ocean, sinking our own coastlines in the process. The scale of this crisis can feel like a lot to take in, but understanding is the first step toward doing something about it. If you're finding this information valuable, do me a favor, hit the like button and subscribe. Sharing this video helps get this critical knowledge out to more people. And let me know in the comments what's the most shocking fact you've learned so far. This is a bleak picture, but feeling powerless is the biggest thing standing in the way of change. The situation is serious, but it's not hopeless. We have the knowledge and the tools to fix this. The solutions really boil down to three things: technology, policy, and us. On the tech front, innovation is already opening up new options. Energy-efficient desalination is getting better and cheaper, with solar-powered plants turning seawater into freshwater at lower environmental cost. Advanced wastewater recycling, like they use in Singapore, can purify used water to a standard clean enough to drink. In agriculture, a revolution in precision irrigation is underway. Smart systems using AI and sensors can give a crop the exact amount of water it needs, and no more, slashing waste. There are even technologies that can literally pull fresh water right out of the air. But tech alone won't save us. It has to be paired with smart, courageous policy. That means finally getting serious about regulating groundwater pumping. It means putting a real price on water that reflects its true value, which would push industries to conserve. It means governments investing in fixing leaky pipes and old infrastructure. And it means leaning into nature-based solutions, like restoring wetlands and forests that naturally capture, filter, and recharge our water supplies. Finally, there's the role we all play. It starts with just understanding our own water footprint, not just from the tap, but in the food we eat, the clothes we buy, and the energy we use. We can choose to support businesses that are water conscious. We can adopt water-saving habits at home. When millions of us make these small changes, it creates a massive cultural shift that makes the big policy changes possible. That silent alarm from NASA's satellites, it's now ringing loud and clear for all of us. The Earth's continents are drying out, and the water we've always taken for granted is disappearing. We're at a critical, all-hands-on-deck moment for our planet's future. The path we're on leads to a future of scarcity, conflict, and instability. But that future isn't set in stone. The solutions are here. We can innovate with technology, lead with bold policies, and act with our own individual and collective will. We can mend our broken water cycle. The challenge is huge, but humanity has a pretty good track record of solving the problems it creates. We've seen the data from space, and we know the scale of the crisis. Now, we just have to look at each other here on the ground and find the will to solve it. Thanks for watching. The first step in solving any problem is knowing it exists. Now that you know, you're part of the solution. Share this video to spread the word. Check out the links in the description to learn about organizations working on the front lines of the water crisis. The future of our planet's most precious resource is in our hands. Let's not let it slip away.